The Arizona desert was the kind of place that could swallow a man whole, dry, endless, and merciless. Rancher Cole Maddox had lived out here long enough to know the sound of every rattling fence wire, every distant coyote call, and every shift of the desert wind. But on that stormy night, something unfamiliar thudded against his wooden porch, a sound heavy enough to yank him from his half-sleep. Cole grabbed his lantern, shotgun in hand, and pushed open the creaking door. Wind slammed against him, hot and wild, carrying dust that scratched his throat. The lantern's glow cut through the darkness, and that's when he saw her. A woman, Apache, collapsed on her knees, her braid undone, clothes torn from running through unforgiving land. Her face was tight with pain, but her eyes, dark, fierce, bright even in exhaustion, locked onto him like she had known him all her life. She tried to speak but coughed instead, choking on dry air. "Ma'am." Cole stepped forward cautiously. Women didn't end up at his doorstep unless trouble was close behind. "You hurt." She tried to stand but her legs buckled. Cole caught her just before she hit the ground, her weight startlingly light in his arms. When he touched her skin, he felt heat, fever, exhaustion, maybe both. Her lips parted, breath shaking. "You," she swallowed hard. "You let me sleep in your bed, Rancher." She clung to his shirt, pulling him closer with surprising strength. "Get ready," her voice dropped to a whisper, as if speaking a prophecy. "We're having babies." Cole froze. Of all things he expected a half-dead woman to say, that certainly wasn't on the list. Before he could question her, her eyes rolled back and she went limp. "Great," Cole muttered, lifting her fully into his arms. "Mystery woman on my porch talkin' babies. This night just keeps getting better." He carried her inside his cabin, kicking the door shut behind him. A storm slammed against the walls, thunder rolling across the open desert like distant war drums. Cole laid her gently on his bed, his only bed, and pulled a blanket over her. Her breath trembled like every inhale was a battle. He checked for wounds. A long scrape on her arm, bruises on her ribs, a cut on her temple. Nothing fatal, but she had clearly pushed herself past her limit. Whoever, or whatever, she was running from had driven her across miles of brutal terrain. Cole soaked a cloth and dabbed the blood on her forehead. "You're safe for now," he whispered, though he wasn't entirely sure it was true. As he straightened up, something metallic glinted near her belt. A small leather pouch, tightly tied, stamped with a tribal symbol he didn't recognize. He didn't open it, wasn't his business, but something told him that little pouch was trouble. Outside, the wind slowed. Inside, the woman breathed deeper, calmer. Cole sat beside the bed, shotgun across his lap, staring at the stranger who had collapsed into his life, and claimed fate tied them together. "Babies," he muttered. "Lady, what in the desert hell have you dragged onto my ranch?" The first pink line of dawn stretched across the Arizona sky when the woman finally stirred. Cole had been sitting in the old wooden chair beside the bed, boots on the floor, shotgun across his lap, and coffee cooling untouched on the table. He hadn't slept, couldn't sleep, not with a stranger in his bed in danger, likely riding somewhere out in the desert. The woman inhaled sharply, then opened her eyes. They were even sharper in daylight, alert, wild, and unbroken. She pushed herself up despite the pain in her ribs. "You should stay lying down," Cole said, voice steady but firm. "I don't stay where I don't choose," she replied with a calmness that didn't match her condition. There it was, that fierce spirit he'd seen, even as she collapsed at his feet. "I'm Cole Maddox," he said. "Rancher. This is my land." She blinked, taking in the rough cabin walls, the thick log beams, the weapons rack, the smell of dust and leather. Then she placed her hand over her chest. "Naya," she said simply. "Of the Sini Apache." Cole nodded slowly. "You were half dead when I found you. How far you runnin' from?" She looked toward the window, where early sunlight painted the desert gold. "Long enough that my legs stopped listening," she whispered. Cole poured her water and handed it carefully. She drank with controlled sips, eyes never leaving him. When she set the cup down, her expression hardened. "You saved my life, Maddox." "I just opened my door," he muttered. "No." Her voice cut through the quiet. "You carried me inside, gave me your bed. That makes you part of my fate now." Cole rubbed the back of his neck. "About that babies thing you said." Naya didn't flinch. "In my tribe, when death chases a woman and a man pulls her back from its teeth, a prophecy is triggered." She touched her stomach lightly, not as if she were already carrying children, but as if she carried an oath. The future life she brings belongs to the man who saves her. Cole nearly choked on air. You telling me Destiny just walked into my house and climbed into my bed? Naya's lips curved slightly. Not quite a smile, more like amusement at his confusion. You fear Destiny. I fear being surprised before breakfast, he muttered. But before he could ask more, Naya's gaze snapped toward the window. Her pupils tightened. Her body stiffened. Tracks, she whispered. Cole followed her to the door. They stepped outside carefully. The ground near the fence line held clear imprints, fresh horse tracks, deep from fast riding. 5, maybe 6 riders. They circled the ranch like wolves testing the edge of a campfire. Cole's jaw clenched. Those yours? Naya didn't look away from the horizon. Bounty hunters. They chased me through the mountains. They want what I carry. The pouch? Cole asked. She nodded once. What's in it? Proof, she said quietly. A treaty stolen from my village, one that could protect our land from being taken. Cole felt the weight of the moment settle heavy between them. So they're comin' to take you, he said. Naya turned to him, eyes steady and unafraid. They're coming for both of us now. The desert heat arrived early, pressing down on the ranch like a heavy blanket. Cole stood on the porch with his hat tilted low, eyes scanning the far ridge. Naya stood beside him, her hand resting lightly on the wooden post, not for support but for readiness. Her breathing was steady now, her strength returning faster than Cole expected. By late afternoon, the heat shimmered in waves. A distant dust cloud rose along the ridge line. Cole narrowed his eyes. There, he said. Naya didn't need him to point. She saw them instantly, 5 riders cutting across the ridge like shadows riding the sun. Their silhouettes told a clear story. Rifles strapped to saddles, bandanas pulled high, horses pushed hard. Men paid to hunt, men paid to collect. They're spreading out, Naya murmured. Looking for an opening. Cole grunted. Not gonna find one easy. But he wasn't as confident as his voice tried to sound. He had 1 rifle, 1 shotgun, a few pistols, and a lot of empty desert around his cabin. This wasn't a battlefield, it was an open invitation for trouble. Naya stepped off the porch, scanning the ground, the horizon, even the sky. Her senses were sharp in ways Cole couldn't understand. You run far? Cole asked quietly. Far enough to know those men won't stop until one of us is dead, she answered. They want the treaty for one reason, money. Land worth millions. She paused. And they know killing me makes stealing it easier. Cole watched her fingers tighten around the leather pouch at her waist. Your people trust you with something that important. Naya lifted her chin. My father was the keeper of our history. When he fell, the responsibility became mine. A silence passed between them. Cole respected loyalty, blood, land, duty. He understood carrying something heavy because you had no choice. But before he could say anything, a rifle crack echoed from the ridge. Cole grabbed her arm and yanked her behind a water barrel as the bullet slammed into the porch post, splintering wood. Well, Cole muttered, guess they found us. Naya drew a small knife from her boot, but Cole shook his head. You use that when they're close. Let me do the far work. You're not alone in this, she shot back. He didn't answer. Not because he disagreed, but because another shot whizzed past his ear. They retreated into the cabin. Cole slammed the door and shoved a heavy trunk against it. Bullets punched through the walls, sending dust spitting into the air. Cole crouched near the window, loading his rifle with practiced calm. If they come closer, I'll pick 'em off. Naya ducked beside him, her presence steady despite the danger. You should send me away. This is not your fight. He paused, staring at her. She wasn't afraid, not for herself, but for him. Cole lifted his rifle, eyes hard. You stepped onto my land. That makes it my fight. Naya inhaled sharply, almost surprised. Then, she whispered, our fates really are tied. A third shot shattered the lantern beside them. And the battle for the ranch truly began. The first bullet that tore through the window wasn't the one that worried Cole. It was the silence that followed, an eerie, calculated quiet that told him the hunters were repositioning. Men who fired wildly were amateurs. These weren't. Naya crawled beside him, pressing herself against the wall. They're spreading around the cabin. They want to corner us. I figured as much, Cole muttered, reloading his rifle. Men like this prefer talkin', their prize alive if they can. Dead if they must. Her jaw tightened. They'll burn this house to the dirt if they have to. Right then, another gunshot cracked, closer, sharper, and a bullet smashed a jar on Cole's shelf. He cursed under his breath. They're too close now, he said. Gotta move. He pulled Naya toward the ground as more bullets sliced through the walls. The cabin shook from the impact. Naya peeked through a cracked board, spotting shadows between the mesquite trees. One rider dismounted, she whispered. The others are covering him. Cole steadied his breath. Then he's the one I'll take first. He waited, counted the seconds between shots, then swung the window open and fired. A scream echoed across the yard, followed by cursing. That's one, Cole growled. But the hunters responded instantly. 2 gunmen rushed forward, shooting fast and wild. Cole slammed the window shut as bullets sprayed the room. A lantern exploded behind them, flames licking up the wall. Naya gasped. They hit the oil. The fire spread quickly, too quickly. Cole ripped a blanket from his bed, beat the flames down, then pointed to the back door. We can't stay trapped in here. Naya nodded, eyes sharp. Which way? Barn first. My best rifles are out there. They moved low, crawling beneath the smoke that curled across the ceiling. Cole kicked the back door open, only to see the barn already burning, flames climbing the wooden beams like hungry claws. A rider galloped past, threw another flaming bundle toward the cabin. Damn it! Cole raised his rifle and fired. The rider toppled from his horse, hitting the dirt hard. But another shot rang out instantly. Cole heard the whistle of the bullet before it slammed into the ground inches from his boot. They won't stop, Naya said through clenched teeth. Not until I'm dead. Cole pulled her behind the water trough for cover. Naya, how far you willing to go to protect that treaty? Her answer came without hesitation. As far as I must. He looked at her, strong, fierce, loyal. A woman who'd rather die than let her people's legacy be stolen. Then we're not giving them a damn inch, Cole said. Naya's gaze softened, just a little. You're fighting for me. Why? Cole met her eyes, steady and unflinching. 'Cause you didn't bring trouble to my door, you brought purpose. Before she could reply, another bullet whistled past, and the barn gave a loud crack as its roof began to collapse. The night lit up orange, smoke rising like a beacon in the desert. Cole, Naya whispered urgently, gripping his arm. They're coming in for the final push. Cole loaded his last rounds. Then we pushed back harder. Smoke rolled across the ranch like a second storm, thick and bitter. The barn was now a raging inferno, flames clawing at the sky. The heat pressed against Cole's skin, but the hunters pressing closer were a far greater threat. Their boots thudded against the ground as they advanced, rifles at the ready. Cole crouched behind an overturned barrel, checking his ammo. Down to 6 shots, he muttered. Naya knelt beside him, face smudged with soot, eyes sharp despite fatigue. Enough to make them think twice. He smirked. You're either fearless, or exhausted enough not to care. She held his gaze. I've outrun death for 2 days. I'm not afraid of men who hide behind guns. Another bullet cracked the water trough, spraying wood splinters. They're moving in from the north side, Cole said. Trying to sweep us into open ground. Naya's hand moved to the knife strapped to her thigh. Good. Let them come close. Cole grabbed her wrist firmly. Not unless you have to. You're hurt. That rib of yours ain't healed. She jerked her wrist free but didn't pull away fully. I'll fight with whatever breath I have left. Cole stared at her, at the strength in her voice, the fire in her eyes, the unbreakable will. In all his years living under desert sky, he'd never seen anyone burn as fiercely as she did. A gunshot thundered, so close it rattled the trough. Cole jerked his head up. Move. They dove behind the old corral fence as bullets chewed through the boards behind them. Cole, Naya whispered, breath shaking. They're using the fire. They want to smoke us out. We're not letting them, he said, raising his rifle and firing twice. One shot hit a rider's shoulder. The man toppled back, screaming. Naya used the moment to crawl closer, spotting movement between brush. One more on the right. Cole followed her signal, firing a clean shot that sent the attacker dropping. The hunters paused, regrouping, uncertain. The temporary silence was heavy, broken only by the crackle of burning wood. Cole leaned against the fence, chest heaving. Naya placed a hand on his arm, steady and warm. You fought like a warrior today, she said softly. My people would honor a man like you. Cole swallowed, suddenly aware of how close she was. Just didn't want to see you get killed in my yard. She tilted her head. You fought for more than that. Their eyes locked. In the chaos, in the firelight, something unspoken passed between them. Something powerful. Something neither had planned for. Naya exhaled slowly. In Apache tradition, when a man risks his life for a woman, their spirits intertwine. Destiny doesn't wait for permission. Cole didn't speak, not because he disagreed, but because he wasn't sure his voice would come out steady. Before the moment could deepen, a sharp, distant whistle cut through the night. Naya's eyes widened. More riders. Reinforcements. Cole cocked his rifle, jaw tightening. "This ends tonight," he said. "And whatever comes after," Naya whispered, stepping beside him, "we face it together." They moved as one, ready for the final storm. The desert night vibrated with tension. Smoke curled from the burning barn, casting flickering shadows across the ranch yard. The faint whistle Naya heard moments earlier grew into the rhythmic pounding of hooves, steady, organized, coming fast. Reinforcements. Cole tightened his grip on his rifle. 6 riders before, sounds like at least 4 more now. Naya's breath steadied. "They think fire and numbers will break us." Cole gave her a quick glance. "They ain't met us properly then." The new riders appeared over the ridge, silhouettes framed by moonlight. They spread out with ruthless discipline, forming a crescent around the ranch. These weren't simple bounty hunters. These were hired guns. The kind men feared. Naya's fingers tightened around her knife. "They want that treaty so badly they'd burn the whole desert." "They ain't getting it," Cole said. A single rider approached, stopping just outside rifle range. He called out, voice deep and confident. "Send the Apache woman out, and we let you live, Maddox." Cole scoffed. "You boys must think I'm stupid. You can't win." The man shouted. "You're outnumbered, outgunned, and surrounded." Cole leaned close to Naya. "They don't know what you can do." Naya's lips curved, just slightly. "Then let's show them." The riders charged. Cole fired the first shot. Naya moved with him, sliding into position with the grace of a desert cat. Bullets tore through the air. Cole hit one rider clean off his horse. Naya threw her knife, striking another in the thigh, sending him crashing into the dirt. But the battle wasn't neat. Gunfire exploded in every direction. Dust rose like smoke. Horses reared. Men shouted. Cole and Naya fought back to back, every step synchronized, like they'd fought beside each other their whole lives. A rider broke through, charging straight at Naya with pistol raised. Cole saw him first. "Naya, down." She ducked. Cole tackled the gunman off his horse, slamming him into the ground. The man swung wildly, but Cole drove his fist into his jaw, dropping him. 2 more surrounded them. Naya retrieved her knife, spinning it once before striking, swift, precise, fearless. Cole fired his last round, hitting the final rider's arm. The man screamed and fled into the darkness. And just like that, silence settled over the ranch. Smoke drifted lazily. Horses scattered. The last flames from the barn crackled weakly. The attackers were gone, broken, defeated, retreating into the desert night. Cole leaned on the fence, breath ragged. Naya stood beside him, hair wild, face cut and bruised, but eyes bright, alive. "You saved my life," she said quietly. "You saved mine," he answered. She touched her fingertips to the pouch at her waist. "My people's future is secure now. And, so is mine." Cole looked at her, really looked at her. A woman of fire, loyalty, destiny. A woman who'd walked into his life with danger at her heels and strength in her soul. "So," he said softly, "about that prophecy." Naya stepped closer, placing her hand over his heart. "Our spirits are bound. Destiny doesn't ask. It leads. And you," he whispered, "you choosing to stay." Her voice was gentle but certain. "Cole Maddox, my future is here. With you. On this land we fought for." He wrapped an arm around her, drawing her into the first calm embrace either had felt in days. The fire died. The stars brightened. And beneath the vast Arizona sky, a new chapter of their lives began, one written not by prophecy alone, but by choice, by courage, and by a bond forged in fire. Their future, family, love, and destiny, started that night.